everyone. I'm Rob Smith of the formerly known as the Quant Edge. Now back in the black VTF here, T3 Live, and if it's Tuesday, it's the Wheels in Motion show. And we got motion, and you'll see some people out there in fetal position when you get stuff going like this, and this is what we live for. So let's take a look at the SPY here. So a lot of the things, normally during periods of less volatility, I'd be going through a bunch of monthlies and weeklies. The thing is, in this environment, we're changing gears every hour, sometimes even faster than that. But let's take a look at the SPY here. So we opened here, and you can see this. Here was Friday, broadening formation, higher high, lower low. Then we gapped down, and we made higher high and a lower low yesterday. Right? Then we made the higher high this morning, but we couldn't quite do it down here. So if we go to a 60, you're going to see this. 60 now looks like this. Let me clean this up for you. Right? Oops. Okay, so now the 60 looks like this. You still had your lower low yesterday, like so. And then we go out on the higher high. All right. So looking like that. So the question is, can we get back into the series, or do we drop back through? So here's Friday's. Higher highs, lower lows, like so. Sitting right there. The question if we come back through this, and then we got bigger one like so. Here. Like that. So the thing about when you have a period of volatility like we have, and you've got the VIX around 50, eventually this thing's going to resolve. And when it does, you're going to have a much bigger move. Now, I'm not saying that's happening anytime soon, but when you get used to having to get out because things can gap down, a million on you, what have you, once you get one of these things going, you're going to want to stay in eventually. Now, we prefer to have those signals going our way, which we don't, right? So for the monthly here, now, you see this right here. The low is 285.54. We're back into this try. That's one of the greater tries. That's good. We're still red, but you can see we're moving around enough on stuff like that. And now in the weekly, here, right, we're nowhere near that. Now, it doesn't mean the way we've been gapping doesn't mean we can't take that out. But because we're inside week, we're in conflict with the inside week down. But the continuity is leaning towards 3. Right, as opposed to the 2 down, right? So we'll see what comes of that. Obviously, there's a lot of news and stuff like that going on around us. Another thing that we wanted to do is here today is watching the broader averages together. So here on the opening, here's the opening, and SPY went inside 30 down. Anytime we start coming back to a previous range, that's something we want to know about, because we got the inside bar back to the downside, and what that did is it triggered a simultaneous 60 break. And what that means is here, when you go to the 60 minute, here, lower low, higher high, boom, 2-2 reversal here, and they got clobbered below 280.91. And the good thing about that was a simultaneous break, and what that means is it did it in pretty much everything, but definitely the 4 major broader averages. SPY, Qs, 2-2, small capper, 2-2, Dow Jones Diamonds. And so the reason that's good is that once that starts occurring, you don't have to grab the first one. You can grab the last one out of the 4. Because if the first 3 are doing that, I'm telling you right now, that fourth one almost for sure going to go, right? So that was nice. And then at the end of the day, we got the simultaneous break between the diamonds here inside 60 and the SPY. Here you go. 2, 1, 2, bam, and then the follow through. So here we had the exhaustion risk of taking this out, but you had so much acreage in here to keep letting it play out that there's nothing too much playing out against you. Also, as things were going back and forth in here, right, here's how you want to use different vehicles to figure out what's going on. So when this was happening, we had VXX do this. VXX was already inside, right? And then as the SPY and diamonds were going inside, it poked up, right? But it came back in to set the rev strat up, right? So when those inside 60s went, right, that was already telling us that they were stronger, because the VIX was trying to rise in their face, and they said, right? And so when it takes this out, boom, back to the downside. Here, triggering, telling us that that those 60s are going to work. all right, because you have RevStrat and the VIX, and that was a real tell. So you want to be able to go back and forth and see stuff like that. Here's another thing that I want to point out to you. When I say it's over, okay? So you can see this VXX weekly, right, blasting up here. However, it's a nice red now. But if you go back, right, so here, right, this is a nice run. But when it's over, right? Like I said, it might take a while sometimes. But once it's over, like right now, you're closer to being 2-2 down. Obviously, there's a lot of week left. But when it's over, right? There's periods of volatility, and then it dries up. And it doesn't mean, the market goes completely roaring back to the highs. What it means is that volatility dries up. And so the good thing about these things are decaying products. And so what I mean by that is you might have an initial rally, but once the stocks stop rallying, the VIX will drop. The price doesn't have to keep going up for the VIX to go down, right? If it goes sideways and does nothing, the VIX will come down, right? So in time, we're going to see that. And on the daily, here you got the gapper here, but we'll see what's the next two. We're going to keep watching stuff like that, because when you get these signals and we don't have these big gappers and we can have them go a little more cleanly, you get something like the bonds today, TLT. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Now there's a 2-2 right there, right there. Two up, but closer to close, taking it down, and boom, right there, 170.34 down to 162.51. That was real nice. And even if you missed most of the day, you could have come in at the very end for an inside fiver right here, 164.36, taking it for maybe $2 there in 15 minutes. Not bad. So a lot of this stuff is like still needs to resolve. And what I mean by that is we still have some going up, like O'Reilly's here, and O'Reilly's we saw here for the weekly, here, taking out last week's highs, right? The thing is, normally I'd be looking at a lot of stuff doing that. We don't have a lot of stuff doing that, but normally I would be doing that. But because of the environment and the high volatility, that we are basically trading normally like a week or a month every day. And so every 60 is going to matter, going back and forth and back and forth. So we do have something like GTLS here that still has some issues. See this on a day like today going out towards the lows, and that's why when we gapped up, not only did we look for either a continuation on that triangle SPY or that reversal to 60, but once it reversed, anything taken out yesterday's lows, right? Because those people got what they wanted. They got the market to rally back, but as soon as it starts puking and takes out the lows, we know where your stops are. But thanks for playing. So at this point, it's really coming down to certain sectors and how they're going to play out. So we've got like restaurants here, DIN, and this thing is still having all sorts of problems, and you can see this going out towards the lows of the day. And the weekly bright red, and got Brinker EAT goes down, but now starts to come back, right? Potential hammer 2-2. So doesn't mean it's the beginning of the huge rally for stuff that goes 2-2, but as of right now, this is a 2 down, and we want to see stuff like this resolves, because you're going to see like the transports going inside day, and we got a little bit out of like some of the airlines, it inside day and up for Alaska Airlines, but still inside of this, which is a 3, which is good, because that means it's a try, and it was too strong to take the bottom of that out. So we'll see how some of these airlines play out tomorrow with the inside day in the transports. Because as we've seen, if we start dropping tomorrow, let's go back to the SPY. If we start dropping and we go back into the try, right, and let's say we come back ripping through here, these are the transports are going to be something we look at to say they couldn't do anything today. Maybe they get pounded because they're a bunch of inside days. You also have crude going inside, and that could tell a few tales itself. Here, is they overdid this thing, or is it, oftentimes when you have this big of a gap, you're going to start to see this consolidation or price discovery where it takes out one side back and forth and starts trying out. But we do have that inside day, and you're going to see that in Chevron. You're going to see it in Oxy, CLR. So we want to see if these things, what comes of this. Is this the final blow to these guys, or are we going to see some more continuation into bankruptcy kind of moves? And that might happen in the future. But what happens tomorrow between transports and oil, and some of this restaurants, and then the airlines with the cruise lines? So CCL trying to come back. This would be a 2-2 back up if they want to try and save it. RCL here. Not so fortunate. No, I think that's wrong. Hold on 1 second. There you go. So we'll see if those things going to come back. Another thing that the oil overshadowed a bit, but was nice, was natural gas. If you go to UGAS here and you go to the weekly, it's inside week, and it goes 1 bar red strat, took out one side and came back. Right, so that's nice. And the good thing about it is, even if you missed it, that goes 3-2 today. And even if you missed it, you go to the 60. Here, you got your rev strat right here. Inside, down, here, and back up over 43.31. And the good thing about that is then you can go to the DGAS. So it's a rev strat, I want the DGAS. Boom, right here. And that took out 227.32. And in the next hour, went down to 212. Not bad, huh? 227 to 212, 14, 15 bucks in an hour. We'll take that. Other than that, it's let's see what we got here. Trains, we got that. So other than that, like I said, we're going to be playing this hour by hour, constantly watching the strength and weaknesses. Are things trading like the futures? Are, when the futures rallying, something's going down? Constantly watching the relative strength and weaknesses within the market, as well as the simultaneous break when the futures are taking over, being that this morning and this afternoon. Two very nice ones at that. And also tomorrow, to start the day, you got a ton of inside tech days. Just keep an eye on too. Roku, AMD, F5, Twitter, MU. So you get the idea that there's that there's still things moving around. So the good thing about the market is that here, if you got a simultaneous break and you have the oils and the trannies and all these techs break to the upside, that could add a lot more fuel to the fire. If the relief is really on, if the ones that are causing this pressure start to rally, there's every reason to believe that we come back a bit more. And oh, how the mighty have fallen. Non-believers of the I know, the 3-2 day down. Look at this. Shoo. Oh boy, and it was so good for so long, and then here you go, triangle them out, go inside 60, and see you later. So a lot of these virus names coming in: AHPI, APT, CODX, VIR. There's a nice week down for you. VIR goes 1 bar rev strat. So these guys starting to cool off a bit. So it'll be interesting to see the combination if you have the relief of, at least some relief of the airlines and the oils and the cruise ships and all that kind of stuff, combined with another tech inside days to the upside. That'd certainly be interesting. But as we've seen, every futures night is an adventure of itself. But we use the evidence that we have, go back and forth, and we'll see what comes of that. All right. Special volatility edition of the brand new In the Black. We're back. VTF here at T3 Live. It's Tuesday. It's the Wheels in Motion show. I'm just going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith of the In the Black. VTF here at T3 Live.